Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Crime drama, an episode of the Phillips H. Lord production Gangbusters. This episode goes back to July 12th, 1954. This episode entitled The Battle on the Staircase.
And now, in cooperation with police and federal law enforcement departments throughout the United States, Wrigley's Spearmint Gum, the refreshing, delicious treat that gives you chewing enjoyment, presents for your listening enjoyment, Gangbusters! Gangbusters has asked Captain Carl B. Shoemaker, Deputy Chief in charge of Criminal Investigation Division, Portland, Oregon Bureau of Police, to narrate by proxy tonight's case. Chief Shoemaker.
Thank you. And good evening, Gangbusters listeners. Not far from the picturesque town of Oceanside, Oregon, a small park overlooks the blue waters of the Pacific Ocean. Now, this is a peaceful place where a man's thoughts might be pleasant and good. Only the thoughts of two young men in bathing trunks didn't fit the countryside at all.
Red?
Yeah?
I was just thinking. Guess a day like this makes you think, huh? Lying out here, looking up at those clouds.
Hey, where's Carol, Bert?
Oh, she's still down swimming, I guess. She'll be back. Like I was saying, I've been thinking about your idea.
Hmm?
You sure will work, huh, Red?
Oh, now look. Nobody's sure of anything. All I know is, Bert, I just got a peculiar habit, see? I like dough. I like lots of it.
Anybody does.
Yeah, I like what you can get with that dough. Swell clothes, a big car with a top down. Dames.
Yeah.
You know something funny about me, Bert?
What?
I like throwing money around on women.
Yeah, sure. Who don't, huh?
You killed me, Bert. All right, now, are you in or out? I'm pulling out of here in the morning.
Hey, you guys gonna take a dip?
Oh, hold it, will you, Red? Here's Carol. We're hungry.
Ooh, that water's sure cold, but it peps you up. You know?
Hey, boy, you look good in a bathing suit, Carol.
Oh, you see, Bert? Other guys know how to say nice things.
Now, I always thought you looked good, honey. You know that.
Well, time to head back?
So soon? I thought we could stay all afternoon.
Oh, I got things to do. Did Bert tell you? I'm pulling out in the morning.
You are? Well, gee, we'll miss you, Red. Won't we, Bert?
Huh?
Well, will you, Bert? Go on, answer the girl.
Well, we'll talk about that later, huh?
Talk about what? What goes?
Well, Carol, look, me and Red... Well, that is...
I'm going to get me some dough starting tomorrow. A lot of dough. And I asked Bert if he wants some.
Get dough how?
Oh, I got ways. It's going to take time, though. It's going to take maybe a month. Maybe longer. What's the answer, Bert? You got to make up your mind.
Well, I want to. Red, you know that.
Oh, then we pull out in the morning. Agreed?
Yeah, I guess so.
Bert,
Yeah, honey.
you're leaving? You just get out of Quinton and leaving again?
Well, I need money, too, Carol. How can we have any fun if I'm broke all the time?
Answer my question. I hang around waiting for you. Now you're pulling out on me?
This and that, honey. I just...
Answer me.
Well, answer the lady, Bert.
Yeah, I guess I am, Carol. Honey? Say something, Carol.
You dirty, stinking rat.
Now get this, all of you.
First jerk that makes a move gets a slug. You got that? Nobody moves.
Come on.
Okay, Bert, get it moved. Roll, I said. One of those punks pulled the alarm.
I am.
Come on faster, you dope. Think that's a squad car pulling out behind us.
Can't go any faster. Red, there's a lot of traffic here.
Hey, it is a squad car. Move this thing, will you?
Are they coming?
Keep going.
If we can get to the highway...
Look out, there's a car!
Hey, Red.
Just a side swipe. Now go on, pull back, keep rolling.
Right.
Come on, move it, I tell you. That's the boy. Now you're learning.
That car we hit there looked bad, Red.
Never mind what we hit. We're moving, ain't we?
What about squad car?
Nah, forget it. We got open road up ahead. Now go!
Two stools right here at the bar, fellas.
Oh, thank you. Hey, this is all right, you know, Red. Look at the way it's fixed up. Like Hawaii, huh?
Yeah.
The music sounds good, huh?
It's okay.
What'll it be, fellas? Beer?
Now, rye here. Water on the side.
I'll have a beer.
Yes, sir. Beer and a rye. Dixie special, all right, sir?
Huh?
House rye. It's excellent, sir.
Anything.
Hey, you know something? It's funny, sort of.
Yeah, what is?
Well, I mean, they call this place the Dixie Belle. Ain't that right, Red? Ain't that the name of the place there?
Well, so what?
Yeah, but inside it's Hawaiian. You get it? Should be southern, sort of, huh?
In Portland, Oregon?
I guess I never thought about that.
A rye and a water wash and a beer. Well, you fellas from out of town?
Yeah.
First visit to Portland?
Sure, yeah.
Oh, great city, great. Lived here all my life. You like that rye okay?
It'll do.
Excellent rye. Yes, sir, great little city. Here on business, are you?
Yeah.
Well, anything you boys want Alice to play, just write it on one of those slips. Great little trio, Alice's.
Yeah, it sounds nice.
Plays Hawaiian, you know. I guess you can hear. Aloha, songs like that.
Yeah, sure.
Here on business, he said. Well, you'll like it. Yes, sir, Portland is just about everything. And it's yours for the asking.
Six o'clock, folks. Afraid I gotta lock up now. Well, that side door's locked, Mrs. Hensel. Use the front way out, please, huh? Thank you. Good night. Well, sir, I guess you're the last one.
Me? Yeah, I am, I guess.
Glad you came in. My name's Pearlie. I guess you know that. Saw the sign outside.
Yeah.
Pearlie Brothers Supermarket.
Yeah, I saw it, yeah.
Now, let's see. Bananas. I was going to weigh those. Or did I? Oh, let me see now.
Never mind.
Oh, gotta weigh 'em, mister. Wouldn't want to cheat a new customer.
I said never mind.
What's that one of you? Oh, no.
Come on, move.
Don't get nervous now. Whatever you do, don't get excited and shoot.
Nobody's excited. Just do like I say.
Yes, of course, anything. Just be careful with that gun, that's all. You want the money? Here it is, right in the register.
Walk back to the office and back. Go on, fast.
In the back office? Sure I will. I'll do whatever you say. Just be careful now. Huh?
You be careful. All right, open the door. Go in.
In? Yes, sir. Right now.
Okay, out front?
Yeah, so far.
There's two of you?
Yeah, we're friends, Pop. All right, now. Get going on the safe.
The safe?
What's the matter, you deaf? Open it up.
I can't, honest. That's the truth. Time lock's set. Won't open now until morning.
Yeah. Any dough out front?
Yes, money in the register.
I told him that. I told him to take it.
All right, go on out and get it. When you're ready, call.
All right.
Wait a second.
Well, you told me to get the money.
Yeah, I know what I told you. Pop.
Yes?
Give him your apron.
My apron?
Don't make me say everything twice. Take it off.
Yes, sure I will. Here, take it.
What for?
Well, put it on, you jerk. Anybody looks in the window, it'll seem like you work here.
Yeah, I never thought of it.
Yeah, well, I did.
Now get going.
This won't take a minute.
Oh, put the dough in a shopping bag and stick some groceries on top of it.
Hey, sure.
You sure about that safe?
It's honest. My brother and me, we set it that way. Once you set it, you can't open it without calling the protection people.
Yeah, what's the matter? Don't you and your brother trust each other?
Well, me and Ed, it ain't that. We just have to call.
Okay.
Wall.
No kidding. You expecting a call?
Well, it's just my wife. She always calls at closing time to see if I'm going to be late.
All right, let it ring.
I got the dough.
All right, stay there. If you're lying about that safe...
Oh, I'm not. Honest, I'm not. My wife will be worried.
I call her back. Only for now, just don't do nothing. You got that? Just stand here.
Whatever you say.
Just stand still.
Yeah.
That's it, Pop. Nice and still.
I got the dough in the bag like you said, Red.
Yeah, I can see that. All right, let's go.
Ella, call the police. Never mind what happened. Hang up, Ella, and call the police.
July 12th, 1954, Gangbusters on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
You ever make a change and then think, why didn't I do this years ago? Well, that's how people feel about switching to MediShare for their health care, especially now with inflation the way it is. People are very happy with the savings. Most families save about $500 a month when they switch. It's a huge help when prices are going up so fast in so many other areas. And MediShare's customer satisfaction rate is double that of health insurance. It's just a different experience, and people really like that. MediShare is an alternative to health insurance. It's a community of Christians who share each other's healthcare bills, and it's been going strong for over 25 years. It really is the gold standard, the most trusted name in healthcare sharing. Find out why people love it. Find out why they rave about the customer service, and find out how good it feels to save some money right now. They're super easy to talk to. Here's the number, 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE, 833-34-BIBLE.
Gangbusters started out in 1935 as G-Men. It was produced in close association with J. Edgar Hoover, then the director of the FBI. He didn't like the idea of the show. However, Attorney General Homer Styles Cummings thought it was a good idea. It dramatized FBI cases, but Hoover insisted only closed cases would be used and demanded approval on each and every script, downplaying gunfights and car chases, spending more time of the investigation and legwork. Well, Phillips H. Lord did not see the tampering. He saw his creation as a public service, but one had to entertain as well. The show ran from July 20th of 1935 until October 12th of that same year. The show would then evolve into Gangbusters. And there you go. There's you. And that's why when it came time to do the World War II show, it was not about the FBI, but about the counter spies. From July 12th, 1954, Gangbusters on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Now, back to Gangbusters and Captain Carl V. Shoemaker, Deputy Police Chief, Portland, Oregon.
In the language of a professional thief, Gangbusters listeners, a score is the amount of cash realized in a robbery. And the score in the Portland supermarket robbery was unusually good. An hour later, locked in their hotel room, Red and his pal counted over $1,300 in cash. Back at Pearly Brothers Supermarket, Detective Sergeant Myron Warren and Detective Robert Shaler were at work on the case.
Now, if you're ready, Mr. Purley, we'd like you to ride down to headquarters with us.
Oh, tonight?
It'd help, Mr. Purley. We'd like to have you look at the photographs in the file.
Well, if it'll help, I will. Just a second while I lock up and back. Don't know why, though, nothing to lock up now. They took all the money.
Take your time. Any ideas, Mom?
Might tie up to those teletypes.
Yeah, I thought of them, too. How many? Do you remember?
At least 7.
The job in Sacramento was a supermarket.
Yeah, so are a couple of others. And day by day, they get closer to Portland.
Maybe something will turn up in the mugshots.
Maybe. I think we better have a plan if Pearlie can't pick them out, though.
The roadblock's all set up.
Good. What about that motel out on the south end?
You know, the report on the two guys? I just called in to get it checked. Negative.
Oh.
Looked good for a minute or two. 2 guys and 2 dames killing a case of beer. Not our pigeons, though. They established alibis in a bar out there.
So that leaves us where? Where would you go?
Me?
If you just stuck up this place and scored more than 1,300.
Mexico. Winter's coming.
Maybe you got a point.
Mexico?
The spree.
Oh.
Bob, I've seen quite a few of these jobs. 9 times out of 10, they get their hands on big money, they start spending it.
Sounds reasonable.
Let's try it, okay? After we're through with Pearlie, let's look the town over. Maybe run into a couple of real smart boys out spending their dough.
I'm ready, officers. I phoned Ella, told her not to wait.
Good, Mr. Pearlie. We're ready, too.
You want a drink, Jim?
Hey, you kill me, you know it, Lester? 10 times a night you ask me if I want a drink. The answer is no, not when I'm working.
I just thought you looked pooped.
Well, I am. This is no picnic, Lester. On the force all day. In Dublin here tonight.
Well, I keep wondering why the boss thinks he needs you. Excuse me. Yes, sir, gentlemen?
Rye. Water on the side.
I'll have a beer.
Right, a water chaser and a beer. Yes, sir. Say, weren't you fellas in last night?
Yeah, sure.
I'll get the drinks, will you?
Never forget a face. Glad to see you again. If you want Alice to play a request, just write it on one of those slips.
Yeah, you told us. Now get the drinks.
Yes, sir. Coming up.
What do you mean, Les? You wonder why the boss needs a security man.
Hey, just a second while I serve these drinks, Jim.
Okay.
Rye, water on the side, and a beer.
Hey, she'll play requests there?
Alice? Yeah, that's what she's here for.
Well, ask her to play that one she just finished, eh?
Oh, you like that song?
Yeah.
So do I. Alice plays it swell. Yes, sir, you just listen. Repeat number 1, Alice.
That's it.
Say, Les.
I didn't mean anything, Jim, but this is a respectable place. Why keep you hanging around?
Now, look, it's okay with the department if we take part-time jobs off duty. It ought to be okay with you.
Oh, it is, Jim. Sure it is. It's just that this is a respectable place. Nothing ever happens here at all.
Hey, you like that song, Red? She can play that swell,
Oh,
eh?
look, will you request something else? That's about the 10th time.
Oh, I think that's pretty. Don't you, Red? You know, someday, maybe me and Carol could go to Hawaii, huh? You know, eat that pooey stuff or whatever they... Red?
Bert.
What?
You know that guy sitting over there, the one the bartender keeps yakking to?
Him? No, why?
I'll bet he owns this trap.
You think so? Why?
Why? Oh, you sound like a kid. Because he ain't drinking. Because he's been sitting there all night.
I never would have thought of that.
Well, I didn't. I got another thought, too. Boy, this would be an awful easy touch.
Here? Now? Oh, Red, now you said we were going to have a ball.
So we didn't find any dames, did we? Why not touch the lousy joint?
I don't want to, Red. I'm having fun.
Who cares what you want? Look, there he goes into the lobby. Ooh, and there ain't a soul around.
Be right back, Les. Okay, Jim.
Here, this one's gonna be easy.
Hey, Red, wait.
You wait, right there.
Another drink, fellas?
Give him a real drink, pal. Maybe give him some guts.
I'll have another beer.
Looking for the restroom? It's right over there. Oh, I see. Yeah, you see good, pal. Where's the office? Up those stairs? No use going up there. The owner went home hours ago. All right, start up the stairs. Now, come on, fast. Don't you know a gun in your back when you feel one? I know a gun, all right. I move. Whatever you say. Only there's nothing up there. I know. All right, keep going. Don't stop looking around. Oh, I'm going, friend. Going good.
stand there. Let's go.
Stop! Both of you stop!
Jim, you hurt?
Phone in, Lister. I'm going after them. Stop!
They're outside, Jim. Look, on the street.
Yeah, I see them. They haven't got a chance. Stop!
Peters!
What? Oh, Sergeant Warren. It's a stick-up. Those two guys in the corner. Come on.
Bob, head them off the intersection.
Right. Watch it. One of them's armed.
There they go into the alley. Come on.
Sergeant, we're splitting up. One of them's heading south.
Head them off. Come on, Jim. We'll get the other one.
Look. He stopped, Sergeant. Should I fire?
Hold it. All right, you're boxed in. Throw down your gun and walk toward us. Now, look, we won't fool around.
Now, don't shoot. I'll come out.
Watch him. He's the one who tried the stick-up.
In the Dixie?
That's right.
Bob and I were just coming in to case it.
All right, don't shoot. Don't shoot.
All right, just stand perfectly still. Keep your arms on your head. Bob!
Sorry, Myron. I lost the other one.
Yeah.
I got his gun, Sergeant.
Where's your pal heading? Come on, talk to me.
Him? Wouldn't you guys like to know?
July 12th, 1954, Gangbusters on an hour of crime on Classic Radio Theater. Thank you for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, and now the conclusion of Gangbusters, The Battle on the Staircase, July 12th, 1954.
Carol, honey, am I glad to see you.
You are?
Oh, you got my telegram, didn't you? You knew I was coming, huh?
Oh, I knew, Bert.
Did I have a time getting here, baby? They got red. Did you know that?
You don't say.
Sure, up in Portland. We were... What's the matter, Carol? You sore about something?
Me? Why should I be, Bert? I wait for you all the while you're in Quinton, then you get out, say hello, and walk out on me. Why should I be sore?
I didn't walk out on you, Carol, honest.
I got news for you, Bertie boy. Nobody walks out on Carol.
But, baby...
Now I got more news for you.
News? What news, baby?
You asked, did I know you were coming?
Yeah.
Turn around and open the door, Bert.
Huh?
Go ahead. Who knows? Maybe I baked a cake.
This door?
Open it, lover.
What? Sure.
Hello, Bert.
Carol.
We're grateful to your girlfriend, Bert. Back in Portland, we've been looking for you.
Carol, why? Why, honey?
I don't like being walked out on, Bert. Like I think I said before. You dirty, stinking rat.
I'm glad to report, Gangbusters listeners, that in the circuit court in Portland, both these men received long sentences, which they are now serving in the state penitentiary in Salem.
Thank you, Captain Carl B. Shoemaker, Deputy Chief, Portland, Oregon, Bureau of Police. And now, Gangbusters Nationwide Clues, broadcast every week to assist American police in their war against the underworld. Attention all citizens. Be vigilant for Charles Ray Downing, wanted by the FBI for unlawful flight to avoid prosecution for murder. His official description.
Charles Ray Downing, alias Chuck, age 30, 5 feet 10, 175 pounds, medium build, brown hair, maybe dyed black, blue eyes, ruddy complexion, may seek work as a farmer, salesman, or cook. This man's nose is twisted to one side. He has 2 tattoos. Heart and arrow with name Mickey on left forearm. Eagle with word liberty on right forearm. His fingers are drawn and upper arms underdeveloped, reportedly as a result of polio.
Caution, Downing may be armed and should be considered extremely dangerous. If you have any information concerning this clue, notify your local police, the nearest office of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or Gangbusters at once. Tonight's Gangbusters case was dramatized by Robert J. Shaw and directed by Leonard L. Bass, with Charles Chuck Webster, William Frederick Zuckert, and Lawson Zerby in leading roles. The entire production was supervised for CBS Radio by John Ives. Gaylord Avery speaking. Gangbusters, a production of CBS Radio in cooperation with Phillips H. Lord, is brought to you each week, same time, same station, by Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum, the refreshing, delicious treat you can enjoy even while you're busy.
From July 12th, 1954, Gangbusters on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, Part 4 of the 5-part Yours Truly Johnny Dollar story, The Shady Lane Matter. This episode was originally broadcast July 12th, 1956.
From Hollywood, it's time now for...
Johnny Dollar. Hello? 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 Sorry to scare off your caller, Ben.
You always answer other people's phones, Mr. Dollar?
Yeah, when it's right at my elbow, and when I want to find out who's calling at this time of night.
Did you find out?
I think so. I know of only one person in the township who'd probably hang up when they heard my voice.
And who you reckon that'd be, Mr. Dollar?
Millie Wells, Jed. Who else?
I think you'd better leave Millie out of this if you don't mind.
I can understand your concern, Ben, but I'm afraid I can't go along with it. Your wife has been murdered. Gossip around town says you and Millie have been interested in each other. And Millie stood trial 4 years ago on a charge of murder. Add it up, Ben. Add it up.
Tonight and every weekday night, Bob Bailey in the transcribed adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. From Special Investigator Johnny Dollar, location Shady Lane, Vermont, to the Home Office, Star Mutual Insurance Company, Hartford, Connecticut. Assignment, The Shady Lane Matter. Expense account continued. It was a messy case, hard to move around in. A small community, and everybody in it was a neighbor or friend of everybody else. Except, of course, the unknown person who'd murdered Ellen, Ben Bates' invalid wife. But the ties were close. Ellen, it turned out, was the niece of Constable Jed Bramler. And Sarah Preeney, next-door neighbor, had accused Ben of carrying on with waitress Millie Wells, who was a good friend of Constable Bramler. And Sarah Preeney's husband had helped Ben out of a jam by loaning him $7,500 on a worthless farm. Yeah, it was sticky and tight and uncomfortable. Touch one domino and you moved all of them. But the key to the game, I was still convinced, was Ben Bates himself.
Yeah, you're wrong, Mr. Dollar. I've known Ben here for more years than I care to think about. Murder just ain't in his nature.
Mr. Bramler, I think you're just too close to this case to keep a perspective on it.
I know these people, and you don't.
Well, that's exactly the point. Ben is your friend. He was married to your niece, so you just can't imagine him committing a murder.
It ain't in his nature.
Oh, I've never seen a killer yet without at least a few friends who were certain that murder wasn't in his nature.
Now listen to me, both of you. It's not a question of my nature. It's a question of fact, and the fact is a plain and simple one. I didn't kill Ellen, Mr. Dollar.
A lot of things say different, Ben.
And there's nothing at all between me and Millie. If Ellen had lived, I'd have never spoken to her. As it is, I've only asked her if I could see her sometime, once this thing is all settled.
Well, you're together at least. That's about what she told me.
We're together because it's the truth, Mr. Dollar.
Or because you've already talked it over. One
fault I haven't got is lying.
Not even about your rifle being stolen?
Oh, well, Wasn't no actual lie. When Jed here asked me if I had a squirrel gun, I said no. And like I told you, I didn't then. It had already been stolen.
Suppose he'd asked you if you had a squirrel rifle.
Well, I reckon I'd have had to fess up to it.
Well, we'll never know, of course, for sure. But one thing is sure. After your wife was shot and killed by a gun of that same type, you still didn't report to the constable here that yours had been taken.
Well, I explained it to you. How would it have looked if I'd have told him after Ellen was shot that my old squirrel gun had been stolen before?
And you didn't report the theft when it happened because Ellen asked you not to. Is that the story?
She thought she knew who took it. She wanted a chance to get it back without causing them trouble.
And of course she's not here now to back you up on that.
It's the truth. She was like that. Jed here, I'll tell you. Kind-hearted and tolerant with people.
Yeah, she was that all right. It's a fact.
If either Mrs. Preeny or Grody Hawkins took it, and they're the only ones that was here that week, then she was aiming to talk to whichever one it was and get it back without bringing the law in. Only she never had the chance to. She was killed.
Yeah, and that gun figures in it somehow. It's bound to. Look, we've got to find it, Mr. Bramler.
Might take some doing.
Then we'd better get at it.
Tonight?
Tonight. We got things stirred up now. Let's keep them stirred up.
All right.
Ben, you claim you're not guilty of this.
It ain't a claim. It's a fact.
Then who would you say is the most likely suspect?
Ellen didn't have a single enemy in this world, as far as I know. There ain't a person in this township that had a reason to kill her.
Except you.
For the money, you mean? For that life insurance policy?
It's worth $10,000.
And I'm that kind, you think? A man who'd murder his own wife just to get his hands on $10,000.
Ben, I don't know. But there's one thing you can count on. I'm going to find out. Constable Bramler and I left Ben alone in his empty farmhouse, drove back into town. The moon was higher now, and the countryside was dappled in black and silver. And it, too, was empty and silent. We alone moved and made noise as we rattled down the winding dirt road through the flint rock valleys between the sleeping elms and maples. Logic still pointed at Ben Bates, but I'd begun to doubt logic a little. Bramler was right. Murder didn't seem to be in Ben's nature. And I wasn't sure now whether he sat there in his silent house alone with guilt or alone with grief.
Grody lives back at the feed store there.
What do you mean, back of it?
Well, kind of a shack there on the back corner of the lot. They let him live in it in return for keeping an eye on the store at night.
Yeah, quite a choice for a night watchman, a kid who's been up several times for petty theft.
I reckon it does seem a bit odd. Well, let's go see if he's there. You know, folks around here use a person according to his nature. Grody is pretty reliable at something he's made responsible for.
And why do you think he might have stolen that squirrel rifle from Ben Bates' place? He was working for Ben, wasn't he?
But just as a hired hand. He wasn't hired specially not to steal. But here he is.
Oh, now that's a fine point of ethics.
Well, most points of ethics is that way. Reckon Grody just does ornery things sometimes so people will notice him, take an interest in him. He's a little simple-minded, but he ain't a bad kid at heart.
Is anybody bad in your book, Mr. Bramler?
Whoever killed Ellen Bates is. Watch step now. It's pretty dark back here.
Yeah. I hope nobody has dug a hole here someplace.
Ain't likely. No, I think the door is here by the corner somewhere, if I recollect rightly. It's been a long time. Watch it.
You all right?
Bruised my shins all. Now, who in the Sam Hill put all these boxes in front of the door here?
You stop right there now. Don't you move.
He's got a rifle on us.
All right, don't try nothing, Miss Dollar. Like I told you, he's a dead shot.
What you whispering about there?
Never you mind, Grody. You just put that gun down.
I'll put it down. Don't you move now. Let me get my flashlight.
It's Jed, Grody. Constable Bramler. Mr. Dollar's with me.
You stand still till I get a light on you. Then we'll see. Golly, tis.
Yes, didn't you recognize my voice?
Never can tell. People might try something funny. Try to break in. Something like that.
Well, now that you know who we are, Grody, how about having a look at that gun you're holding on us?
Well, I don't know. I guess if Constable Bramler says it's all right.
It's all right, Grody. Let him look at the gun.
Oh, all right, then. Here.
Thanks. Mind holding the flashlight here?
All right.
Well, at least this isn't the one. It's a .22.
What are you fellas up to, anyhow?
Grody, What did you do with that squirrel rifle you took from over Ben Bates's mantle? Well, Odie?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't?
Anybody says I done that is lying.
Nah. Don't get excited, Grody. We don't want to wake up this whole town while we're walking across there.
Where are we going, Constable?
Over to the city jail. Quiet night. Not even a mockingbird singing out there.
I wish that bird back in the cell would do some singing.
Yeah, he will. Always gets to bothering him after he's in for a while.
30 minutes hasn't bothered him much.
He'll talk pretty soon.
Provided, of course, he has anything to talk about.
I know that boy inside out. Now, whether he stole that gun or not, he's lying about something. I'm going to have to buy some oil one of these days. Doggone chair even gets on my nerves.
I don't think anything gets on your nerves, Mr. Bramley.
Well, the country up here has that kind of influence, I reckon. These hills are older than man. They seen a lot of things come and go. Guess they kind of quiet a person down if he stays here long enough.
I doubt if this place is as quiet as it looks. I think there are things under the surface like flint rocks in a field, and sooner or later they work to the top and break off a plowshare.
Yeah, happens sometimes.
Isn't there anyone you can think of who might have hated her, even slightly?
Dollar, if I was to say honestly who I thought was the best-liked person in this whole township, I would have to name my niece, Ellen Bates.
And yet somebody put a bullet through her head and fired at her from the brush without even any warning.
It's a fact.
There had to be a lot of hate behind that bullet. Or a lot of greed.
Same old tune, eh? Ben killed her for the insurance.
I keep coming back to it because nothing else makes any sense.
And neither does that.
He owed that mortgage to Martin Preeny, and the farm wasn't worth it.
Martin wasn't pressing him for it?
Maybe not. But if I tagged Ben right, he still felt the obligation, the sense of pressure. $10,000 must have looked pretty big to him.
Not that big, Mr. Dollar.
Then there's Millie Wells, pretty as a picture and in love with him. And an invalid wife at home.
Constable?
Well, our pigeon's starting to chirp.
Now, let him think I ain't coming right away. He gets more anxious. Saves time in the long run.
Matter of understanding his nature, huh?
Something like that.
Constable Brandler?
What about your nature, Mr. Brandler?
Always was kind to my mother.
And your niece, too?
Meaning?
How did you and Ellen get along?
Fine. Just fine.
Constable!
Reckon he must be ready to talk now.
It's true. I was lying about it. I stole that gun, all right. But I ain't got it now.
Where is it, Grody?
I sold it to Mr. Martin Preeny to hang in his house.
Martin Preeny?
Yeah, can't figure Martin paying money for something to hang in the house. He's too tight-fisted.
He gave me $4 for it about 3 weeks ago.
That would be after Ellen was shot. And you took the gun the week before the murder.
Are you saying that I shot Miss Bates?
That gun was in your possession at the time, Grody.
Oh, she was the best friend I ever had. The only one in this town that ever treated me like somebody. I wouldn't never done nothing to hurt Miss Bates.
You had that gun, the same kind she was killed with.
Oh, that gun ain't been fired in years.
What?
Well, Mr. Bates never did use it. Why, it's even got rust inside the barrel.
Grody, for your sake, I hope it has.
Now, here's our star to tell you about the final intriguing episode of this week's story.
Tomorrow, one domino tips, the whole stack tumbles, and the last man falls with a crash. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, is transcribed in Hollywood. Written by Les Crutchfield, it is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone. Be sure to join us tomorrow night, same time and station, for the next exciting episode of Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Roy Rowan speaking.
From July 12th, 1956, yours truly, Johnny Dollar, the Shady Lane Matter, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We thank you for making us a part of your day. Would you please thank this radio station and support their advertisers? It is their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you each and every time we roll around here on your favorite station. Some of our shows are made possible by our friend Ted at RadioMemories.com. Shows on cassette, CD, or on flash drive for your computer. RadioMemories.com. If you miss a day, you don't have to miss a single show. You can not only hear our shows on demand through my webpage at classicradio.stream, but you can find a whole link of podcast sites where you can download the shows and have them on for you anytime you want to listen. That's at classicradio.stream. You can find the whole list of places there. You can learn about building a classic radio collection of your own. You can find our social media links there. You can contact me there. And if you like what we do, you can buy me a coffee. I'd sure appreciate it. Thanks so much. Tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the radio dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox right here on your favorite radio station.